Hello, welcome back.
Hello.
Yes. So this is just basically a rundown of the year that we've had on eBay specifically. And we're just going to go through some of these big sales and big fails, etc. And I don't know whether you've noticed recently, but eBay has sent out an email that is a recap of your year. I'll tell you exactly what it says. So unwrap your personalised 2024 selling recap. So this is very handy because we're going to refer to this as well.
Yes.
Yes. So to start with, we sold 1,490 items over the last year. And that came to a total of £25,748.66p. But obviously that is before they take off their fees and postage and all sorts of stuff like that.
Yes.
So basically, according to our recap email, by the way, I'm not Russian. I am wearing a Bar Humbug.
I don't think anyone could ever accuse you of
hat.
Russian.
But I'm wearing a Bar Humbug hat, so that's what that
Mine's
is.
too itchy.
So basically, according to the recap email, we're in the top 5% for selling action figures of sellers on eBay in that category, which apparently means that we outperform 99% of sellers.
That doesn't sound right to me.
Well, if you outperform 99% and you're in the top 5%, surely you'd be in the top 1%.
Yes.
How does that work? But yeah, apparently, basically, we're in the top 5% for that one, which is nice.
But I've seen lots of these flying around, and I think Ricky Resales is in the top 5% for light fixtures.
Yeah.
Or something completely random.
So maybe it's just because we've sold the most of them, or I don't know, made the most money off the back of them. I don't know. I don't know how they've established that, but apparently they have. So the first sale that we had in 2024, according to this, is a G.I. Joe Killer Whale 1984 Hasbro, which was spares or repairs, which actually sold on the 17th of January. But that is because we ran a website through until
February.
Through until February.
Ooh.
How does that work? We must have started listing. We must have started listing back onto eBay at the start of January, and that sold halfway through. So that is why it's not, say, like the 1st of January, because basically there was that, that kind of period of time for the first 2 weeks of January, we weren't actually on eBay. And it says here, you started the year off right. Well, selling stuff, yeah, that's pretty much what we're trying to achieve with this, I think. But the star item of the year was a Sega Dreamcast console and games bundle, controllers and cables. We showed this in a previous video, and it was basically a fairly big bundle. So there was a few games, stuff like that, and it sold tested and working for 185 quid.
I do believe I purchased that from Vinted for about £40 all in.
Yeah, so that was a good sale. That would be one of the good sales of the year. According to this, the best sale that we had. Also, the 11th of June was apparently our busiest day. Yeah, so most sales.
With 18 sold.
With 18 items sold on the 11th of June. And in the entirety of this year so far, apparently we've reached 1,146 buyers, which means that for the 1,490 things sold, they were sent to 1,146 people. So that's not bad, But basically our items got 39,462 views as well overall. Now, I know that there are going to be some people whose numbers are through the stratosphere, but this isn't too bad considering that actually we weren't going to come back to eBay, and we are back on eBay after a hiatus. I think it was about 6 months, something like that. So actually we did step away for a little while, and this was the total for the year we came back.
Yeah.
So it is essentially like getting back on eBay and gaining momentum again. And that is it for that email. So what would you say was your best sale this year? What did you sell that was the best? You've got loads of that hat in your hair, by the way. Like, it's shedding. Some hair.
It's because I want to be touched.
There we go. So what was your best sale, do you think?
Well, we sold lots and lots of... Because we closed the website down, we used to sell predominantly vintage Action Man items. And when we closed the website down and moved back to eBay, we sold lots and lots of the stock that we'd had on the website. And I think the best sale we had was... I think it was a field backpack and you press the buttons and you put the little discs in. And it was all in its box with the instructions, and that went for $89.99. So that was quite a good one. But we also sold quite a lot of the Action Man figures for £40, £45, that kind of thing. Yeah.
I think personally the best sale of the year was probably... I think that creator pirate ship that we sold was quite a good one, because I know how much work I put into that. Inventorying it, building it, inventorying it again before putting it back in the box to make sure I hadn't dropped any of the bits, and then basically selling it pretty swiftly, I think, in comparison to what we thought. I think it was gone within maybe a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and that was another Vinted purchase, wasn't it? For about £20 off Vinted.
Yeah.
And how much did it go for again?
Let me
We can also put a picture of it up here.
Yeah, we can put a picture. So,
my face is all itchy now.
So, pirate ship Lego. Well, it was 70 quid it went for, but I know how much work I put into that. Inventorying, building, and then inventorying again, and making sure it was all there.
It wasn't the easiest set to put together either, was it?
Not really. I mean, it was a bit... If you've ever built that particular set, you know that there are bits of it that are actually really, really fiddly to put together. So it was a case of, as I was putting, one section together, another section was kind of falling off it. So it's not like the easiest, but it certainly, at the moment, was the most satisfying one that I did put together and sell. It was the biggest one as well of the year. So, yeah. So that was it.
You had some really good minifigures as well, didn't you, that you've sold? I can think of two.
There was specifically, there was recently a Wolfpack clone trooper from Star Wars, went for about £55. But then there was also this guy here is Davy Jones, and the price of this figure sort of was all over the place, really. There were ones that people were trying to sell for 150, some even nearer 200, but I put it on at a reasonable... I think it was around about 110 I had it on for, because the one we had a nibbled face. There's a picture of it actually there, so that's what he looked like. But obviously he did have that little amount of damage on the face. So, when someone sent an offer of £85, I snapped it up, because for the bundle that we got him from in its entirety, I think it was about, 250? And I think I've, at the moment, got about 20 sets out of that so far, including a Queen Anne Lego set, which is Pirates of the Caribbean.
And you had this minifigure, and that's where you got the other one from as well.
And the clone, the Wolfpack clone trooper.
Which was another Vinted purchase.
Yeah, because the woman on there was selling it over several... Well, she was selling it in its entirety to start with, wasn't she, I think?
Well, she had some minifigures at first, and I messaged her and I said, do you have any more Lego? And she said, actually, yes, I do. And
I then think that offers were sent backwards and forwards, and we eventually settled on about 250. But her son, who's actually, that was his Lego, was quite pleased, because I think that money then went towards an Xbox, she said. Yeah, that's what he was aiming to get. So, but like I say, that bundle is the gift that keeps on giving, in a sense, because it's I think I've generated 20 to 25 sets, and a lot of them are Star Wars. There is the Pirates of the Caribbean ship, and there was all kinds of minifigures as well.
Tons of minifigures.
Collector series minifigures as well. There was all kinds of things in there.
Lots of Star Wars.
Yeah, there was a lot. And there was an absence of Friends Lego, which actually, to be honest with you, because obviously this boy was into Star Wars and stuff like that. So there was this absence of Friends Lego, but then again, that isn't necessarily a bad thing sometimes, because the Star Wars ones can fetch maybe a little more sometimes, and I know we've got the slightly biggest Star Wars sets as well. So we've got like Palpatine's Arrest, which I believe is 9526 off the top of my head. The amount of times I've had to refer to that on Bricklink, it's so seared into my brain. But there's stuff like that. So it made it worth its while, and I certainly know that since obviously we sold this minifigure, David Jones, for 85, and then you've got the Wolfpack Trooper, which went for about 55. We are nearly on the basis of those. Well, we're about halfway to making our money back off 2 minifigures, which was really good.
Yeah.
And that's what you aim for, isn't it? That's what you're aiming for, is to not just potentially make a profit, but make quite a big profit as well. Because if you're buying something for a £5 and selling it for a tenner all the time, you're not making a huge margin, are you? But sometimes you have to, I have said this in the past, like, speculate to accumulate, which means basically spending. You might think at the time, oh, this is a lot of money for what this is, but you need to spend that money, and then the return, you might be getting twice the return. You might be getting in the end of it 5-10 times the return. It is all. Sometimes it's potluck as well with them, but it's definitely worth doing. Spending a little bit. But what was your biggest fail of the year then? What do you think was the most, just the weirdest or most awful?
Easy. We started buying from the local auction. I don't know, was it midway through the year, would you say?
It was at the start of the year. So it was about May. So I think it was shortly after we moved into this office.
And I saw another reseller, I can't remember who, picked up a load of ties. And they were worth big money. So when a load of ties came up at auction, I was like, right, I'm having them. Obviously didn't pay any attention to what brands they were, what condition they were in. So I paid £30 for a box of ties. Most of them were, I don't know, I would say seconds.
Maybe seconds, but there was a lot of supermarket ones, wasn't there?
So many. It was all Tesco and Matalan even, and all that kind of. It was absolute, basically. And I think I just about managed to scrape our money back by selling them on eBay. Yeah. And it took a long time to get rid of them. I wouldn't touch ties again.
No. And along the same lines, my biggest fail was the bundle of documents that we got from the same auction. And this auction house listed them as deeds, which obviously, if you are somebody who buys documents and the old kind of antique type documents, you know that there can be a little bit of money in deeds. Sometimes there can be huge money, I think, depending on whose they were. But they listed them as deeds. Now, obviously, a lot of them, I would say pretty much like 99% of these were wrapped in ribbon. So it was very difficult to actually have a good look through to see whether they were deeds and what these deeds were for and all sorts of things. So I had a little look through them while I was there and thought, yeah, this looks okay. Come to the day of bidding, I had a number in my head and I was like, okay, I won't go more than that. And then I think it got up to about 50. Oops, I should say. It got up to about 50 and then got them back here to the office and kind of started unwrapping all those little ribbons and stuff and realised there was not a single deed in sight. It was all mortgage documents, and it was letters from the estate of a baron who lived in, he was actually Baron of Hackney, but he was from Norfolk. But there was all these things, and essentially they had very little worth. There are museums with pieces that are similar to a lot of the documents, but you know, I was just kind of like, I don't really know what to do with these. I think I approached auction houses, they didn't want them. So then in the end I put them on eBay and luckily got the right buyer. But the guy who bought your ties was another reseller, wasn't he? And he basically, I think, he got them and then realised they weren't what he thought either, and so on and so forth. So it kind of was a bit of a domino effect with those, and they were very difficult to shift.
Yeah.
But with the documents, luckily, the woman who bought them was somebody who was related to these people and who was interested in their history and just wanted to write a book on them. So perfect seller, perfect seller.
Yeah.
Perfect buyer, because she actually had a genuine interest and actually really did want them. It wasn't just about, you know, I'm going to buy these, separate them all out and sell them individually, like your guy who bought the ties. It was about somebody who actually was interested in their historical value, which was great. Perfect buyer. And I think, just about manage to scrape the money back for them, but they are a difficult sell.
Yeah.
Now I know that.
No more ties, no more deeds.
No more documents. It depends. I mean, it does depend what documents you get. I know we did sell recently it was a birthday card, and it was from Jimmy Clitheroe, who was an actor way back in the day, and his mother to somebody who was local to us in Norfolk. And basically, it didn't go for a huge amount of money, but it went for more than I thought. And I think the guy bought it. I can specifically tell you how much. Hang on. It went for. So it was a 1967 birthday card, and it went for £15, and that was without the postage added. So actually, the person who bought that obviously just really liked Jimmy Clitheroe, maybe.
Mm.
So yeah, and it wasn't even signed or anything. It was just a card with like printed words.
It was like a telegram thing, wasn't it?
I think it just has telegram written on the front.
Oh.
So it's not an actual telegram, but inside it has, you know like those machines you get that can print a label printer machine. And they have like the strips of things that with embossed letters. That is the style. It's not embossed. It's not a label printing machine that created it. It is type on a paper, on a piece of paper even. But that's essentially the style of it. So it's not even signed. It's not even handwritten. From Mrs. Clitheroe and Jim. So yeah, obviously the person really wanted it. Yeah.
Shall we have a little look through the year sales and pick out anything in particular that's interesting?
Yeah, we can do, and have a little look. Yeah, so I'm looking here, and we've got the G.I. Joe Killer Whale as the very first transaction, and that went for £10 with what looks like to be £7 postage.
It was really big and really heavy.
Was it?
No. It was a shell basically.
Yeah.
And what happened is that I bought a load of vintage Action Man stuff, and that was included with it.
Mm.
So it's like a bit of a Brucey bonus, so I just flogged it.
Yeah. So the very last thing that we've sold up to current is last night a Humpty Dumpty on Ice theatre programme from 1978 sold, and it went for $3.99. So yeah.
Bit random, isn't it?
Yeah.
We had a nice little sale the other day, which was after we did our packing video, and that was a wrestling ring the entrance and backstage thing that I would have showed in our previous auction video, and that went for full price at $89.99 plus postage. So
you did see, I think there was a few videos ago, probably quite a few videos now, we did have a bundle of Norwich City stuff that was a surprise auction win, and that also included a Norwich City Crest official merchandise. So that is the canary and the shield, and that went for £21.50 and then postage. That was actually in the 20% off sale as well. So somebody wanted because that was open.
It's like Lego, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like nano blocks basically. But we did sell another one. Now, I think that was just a canary wearing a football strip. And that was sealed, and I think that went for about 25, but this one wasn't sealed. So I had to go through all the little tiny nano blocks, which it's not official nano blocks, but you know. I had to go through all that stuff. So shall we start at the start of the year again, actually?
It's a very good place to
and see what some of the best bits were. I mean, at the start of the year, as you can imagine, we were shifting quite a lot of Action Man stuff.
Yeah.
Because we previously mentioned that we did have, we were kind of wrapping up the website. Here's another one. This is, I did show you, I think it was in that Lego video. I did a couple of videos ago. Basically, we got a Millennium Falcon gunner's chair out of the bundle of Lego that I was talking about earlier. And that went for £16.50. So here's the picture of the actual gunner's chair that we sold.
And that's a vintage Star Wars,
yeah.
which you wouldn't really expect to find in a bunch of modern Lego, but,
yeah.
we did. So as we said the other day, you can find some real gems that kids just, mix in with their Lego.
Yeah, pretty much. And then it all just seems to be a random mix of Action Man, action figures.
A German Stormtrooper helmet for £20.
Here's one, A Cousin's Book of Tropical Fishes by A. Fraser Brunner. And that was a paperback book we sold for £8. Oh, not too bad, is it?
Oh, that was a good one. It was a Panzer captain uniform, and for £47.50. Oh, pardon me, £47.49.
Not a real Panzer captain's outfit.
For a little Action Man.
It was an Action Man one. Yeah, we're not into, selling memorabilia, shall we say, of that kind of effect.
We sold Sigmund Freud action figure, which was very random.
Oh, yeah, there he is. And that went for £13. Yes.
Don't know why, but yeah.
Oh, here's another one, a vintage Action Man Secret Mission to Dragon Island boxed set, and that went for £95.
There's definite money in vintage Action Man if you can get hold of it at a reasonable price.
The next sale would tell you there's quite a lot of money in it, because it was an empty box, and it was actually for an Action Man Action Soldier, which was the figure and the uniform and all the accessories, I think. And that went for £20, and that was an empty box.
Yep.
The card backs, for example, as well, we've sold them at £17 a piece.
And that's just the cardboard that the items come on. Yeah,
there's no bubble, there's no, plastic, there's no figure or anything. It is just the cardboard. But yeah, the actual figures themselves, they can go for £40-50, depending on what sort. In general, it seems to be. Oh, spud gun. So we sold a spud gun for £5. Do you know, I never had one of them. I never had a spud gun.
You look really sad then.
I know.
I never had a Mr. Frosty.
I never had one. Or do you remember those Cadbury milk machines where you put your little bars in?
I had one of those, but it broke. Never did. I had it and I broke it within about half an hour.
Yeah.
See, that's what I was talking about, the Field Radio Pack sale.
Oh, so the Action Man Field Radio Pack boxed second issue, because if you are thinking of getting into your vintage Action Man stuff, you have to be careful. There's first issue, last issue, second issue, anniversary issue,
40th,
reissue.
50th, 60th will be soon, I imagine.
So there's all manner of reissues and first and last and diddly-do. So basically just bear that in mind if you do dabble in that kind of thing. But this radio pack went for £81.
And it didn't work.
And the person knew it didn't work.
And they glued it together.
And they glued it all up, and they did their little thing with it and fixed it, and it was fine. So
go off a second, because you sold some leaflets. You listed those, and it was it was Action Man leaflets, but they were all detached and not complete and stuff.
Okay, so they're equipment manuals, which equipment, in case you don't know, in terms of Action Man means basically uniforms and accessories, and all the other assorted stuff for like the animals and all that you get with them. And that went as a spares or repairs bundle of manuals for £9. And a lot of them, they didn't have a cover on them. The pages were detached, they were ripped, they were stained, they had pages missing, and it still went for £9. So it's a lucrative business sometimes to deal with Action Man. Actually, was that a pair of those pliers?
It wasn't. It was the ones that I left lying around that you stood on.
Yeah, because that was because Jen used to get bulks of Action Man stuff from auction, and then get so excited, have them delivered to home, and get so excited she'd just tear them all open and then leave them strewn all over the floor. And I remember I stood on these, And it was by accident, obviously. It was
Wasn't that a spite?
it was a Crash Crew Dragon Island gold pliers. Before they were stood on, were they about 25 quid?
25
pounds. After they were stood on, money was halved. £12.50 they went for, and they were split clean in half.
I did glue them back together, but I did obviously put that in the listing, but that definitely affected the price.
But the only thing is about gluing them back together is when you tried to go like that with them, they didn't move anymore because they were glued completely stuck together, unfortunately. But yeah, they went for the half price of £12.50. Somebody might have then done them up a bit. So this is a Action Man Full Parade accoutrement set.
I love that word.
What this is you've got a soldier on the back of a horse, and the accoutrement is for the horse, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it all goes on the horse, and it's like silver bits and stuff, and the reins and little feet things.
It was all boxed. It was all there, and it went for 80 quid. So yeah, you know, it is one of these nice little. It can be a nice little earner. Suffice to say, though, with this stuff, it's really old, and it can be, especially some of the cloths that they use for it, can be very thin material, but you still want to kind of fix them, and they're tricky.
Ironically, the stuff from the 60s, the material was really, really good and better, but the stuff that was really thin was from the late 70s, 80s.
Yeah. Yeah, so it can be a bit difficult if you do get some of the newer stuff. Remarkably, it was more cheaply made, I think, with the thinner material. It was tricky. So you got her machine gun emplacement, which was 35 quid.
And someone had painted that.
Yeah, they'd splattered green paint, I think, all over that, hadn't they? And that is a gun placement. It's got like sandbags you put round it, and you can put the gun on top of it. It's essentially like the top of a trench. You know, so like during the war when they were in the trenches with their guns, they had gun placements, so that was sort of like that. Yeah, and there's all kinds of little bits and bobs. The start of the year was heavy on the Action Man. And I think one of the sales we had that wasn't Action Man, one of the first sales that wasn't, was a Polaroid 1000 instant land camera, which was untested and went for 18 quid. That was in the box and everything. That was another auction pickup, and oh God, we didn't get electronics from them after we got a console bundle that was, how do I put this, knackered. Basically, we didn't do it anymore, you know, with the electronics, which is, I mean, when you go and view them, they might look fine, but you got to just remember, if they don't work, they don't work, you know, and if they're not worth much working, they're not going to be worth anything not working, are they really, sometimes? A Mayflower Handbook of Coin Collecting went for 2 quid.
2 quid?
2 English pounds. But just remember, with the bread and butters, it does all add up. So it might be that you think, oh, you know, I'm not going to list this because it's only a couple of quid. But they do all add up.
And it does work well with your feedback as well.
Yeah, it can get your feedback up and stuff.
Especially if you're just starting out.
Yeah. Yeah, that is, you know, it's not just about hitting the ground running, is it? You do need to build these things up, and that goes for anything, including, like we're finding with our YouTube stuff.
Yes.
It is a case of we're not going to just go viral. The first video we're going to make is going to go viral.
Well, I don't know why.
Yeah, God knows. But, yeah, that's not going to necessarily happen. I think it is a very, very, very few and far between case that might happen. So we have had to build that up as well. And with, like everything, when you first start out, it is much harder work from building it from the ground up. Once it's built, you can kind of maintain. But it is that building it from the ground up, isn't it? And that's what you have to do with lots of things.
Thank you for supporting the channel, and I know some of our subscribers have actually purchased from our eBay shop. We really appreciate it, so thanks.
Yeah, we have had sales throughout the year of people coming over to eBay to have a look at our stuff, and we did have, at one point, there was a guy who bought a lot of Lego minifigures. If you still watch us, thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
If you don't, where are you? Come back. But basically, stuff like that is really helpful. It is, you know, for us, because somebody recently, I think, said, why don't you put the link to your shop in your YouTube videos? It's in the description.
And our Etsy is there as well.
Yeah.
And our little thing that you can buy us a coffee.
Yeah.
And I think the Just Giving link for the charity one that we did is still there, but I need to take that out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if you go over there and try to make a donation out, it wouldn't work anyway.
No, because it was just for that event, wasn't it?
So yeah, there's links to stuff like that, and you can click on those, and then you can if you want to wait 1st of January, buy something. When we do this again next year, your purchase might be the first one on the list. Imagine that.
And you'll be famous.
Or if you buy something expensive, we might make.
Because this time next year we might have a million subscribers.
Doubtful. I mean, as fascinating as reselling is, I think, to a community of people who enjoy this stuff, I don't think it's going to be something that's going to be universally loved. No. I have to admit, it is a bit niche, isn't it? To be fair. Yes. Don't think we're going to be the next Logan Paul, are we?
Thank God.
I mean, that's not a dead body, by the way. That's coke. But but yeah, anyway, so we'll leave it there, shall we?
Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment. Sorry for the lack of energy in this video. I feel rank. I don't know about you. I think my niece has given me tonsillitis, potentially, because I feel awful.
To be fair, yesterday I felt bad, and I do still feel rough today. So, a little bit of a moan there. We'll get the moan out of the way.
So if you feel sorry for us, please subscribe.
Yeah.
But we are going to put a few more videos out before Christmas, so hopefully you'll enjoy those as well.
Yeah, basically, sort of going into the new year and stuff, we'll do similar stuff, I suppose, to the things we've done. So it will be... I noticed that our strange eBay listings got 50 plus likes, so there probably will be another one like it soon, I should think. But yeah, I mean, I'll hopefully manage to do a few more how-tos as well.
Yes.
Strategically placed throughout the year, obviously.
Probably to do with Lego now, because that's going to be your focus, isn't it?
I have still got consoles and stuff to, or a console, so there might be stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Lovely. So we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, have a good have a good Christmas. I think we're going to be putting out another video anyway. But yeah, so
have a nice rest. Our shop's now on holiday.
Yeah, and that goes for Etsy as well. So yeah, we're now sort of pretty much formally on holiday, I suppose, but we're still going to be doing a few things and coming into the office and doing a few bits around here, so.
Yes, in between eating mince pies.
Yeah.
But Alexis won't let me eat the Christmas food.
No, because it is only the 19th of December, and I know that what's going to happen is we've got like half a bag for life full of stuff at the moment. If she gets her hands on that, we will be buying it all over again, probably at the weekend at some point. So, no, I'd rather not.
Everyone needs an Alexis in their life to keep them in check, especially me.
Or as your mum put it, a carer.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so basically we'll see you in the next one. If I don't see you through weeks, see you through window and all that. All right, bye.